Hi, this is Dick Cavett, and you're listening to the Fab Fourum. I know.
That's interesting.
I have a question about those shows. I have to bring up Forrest Gump. Because
Go right ahead.
Most people think that it's just that show, and they put Tom Hanks in there. But
Isn't
actually,
that
you
funny?
recreated it, the whole set.
Lifetime engineers who know that field have said, I guess you were glad to have that cut you could put in the Forrest Gump. I don't know what made them think that Forrest Gump was ever on my show.
Well,
and the fact that they electronically added John, I thought would be obvious to everybody, and it wasn't. And some guy, I said, well, what about when I said, ladies and gentlemen, Forrest Gump? And he said, well, they dub those things all the time. I figured you probably said, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Hope, and with the final P made it easy to dub in Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
But no, it was...
how did it feel going back on the set, so to speak, 25 years later?
It was spooky, and I didn't go back on the set because they reproduced the set in Hollywood. The fun of that was that they made me look the same age I was when I sat with John and Yoko years before. With something the guy put around my eyes that felt like water, and suddenly, bing, like a drum head, the skin tightened up.
Wow. I'd like some of that now.
I had a nearly $10,000 wig made by the great Ira Sands to reproduce my hair.
Wow.
And yet it was spooky to sit there and think, John's here but not here.
I could imagine.
All that work for a short scene.
Yeah, a lot of work.
Effective, though, it was. It was. I think they used it pretty well.
Seemed to work out, yeah. There was a guy there dressed as John. Here's a bit of trivia you may not know, Beatle-wise. There was a guy there dressed as John, and with the round, I hated those round glasses, but anyway, John wore those always, and this guy did. And I thought, oh, God, some guy, snuck in and was trying to get in the movie and pretend. No, it was a guy they hired. He looked so unbelievably like John that I get goose pimples now thinking about it. And during a break, they had him there in case some legal question might come up about the thing with Tom Hanks and me and John, and maybe some musician's wife would, their lawyers would look ahead and scare everybody. And maybe they should shoot the same thing with this double. But when that guy went out, I think we were at Universal, and walked among the sound stages, people stopped and changed color.
Wow.
It was a total duplicate of John. I wonder where he is today.
Wow.
Yeah.
And not to be funny, they didn't have someone as Yoko?
They didn't have a Yoko, no.
Okay.
It's not easy to get a Yoko.
Yeah, I would.
Yoko is unique.
Absolutely.
Can't be duplicated.
Dick, you had George Harrison on your show as well, and I wonder if you could compare what it was like having John on the show and George on the show, the two different personalities.
Utterly different personalities, yeah. Funny thing about that is that people said, are you really going to have Harrison? And I'd say, yeah. Why?
Yeah, really?
Why, is he a communist? As Nixon would say. I said, well, he isn't very interesting. Lots of luck, one guy said, trying to fill a 90-minute show with George Harrison. And I saw what they meant for a little, first segment or two, and then with each succeeding minute, he got absolutely gripping. I mean, he was just wonderful. And obviously highly intelligent. And one of the great things about having a long time with someone rather than two segments is by the time they loosen up in two segments, you're done with them. And the 90-minute thing, you can get past the early shakes or rigidity or whatever. And Harrison just became, I think enthralling is too dramatic a word, but damned interesting, which is can't be said about everybody, as we know, including often residents of the White House.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say,
former ones.
as you're watching the beginning of that interview, you're kind of gritting your teeth because George is making it somewhat uncomfortable. He's even saying that he's not interesting.
Yeah,
And
that's
he
right.
said-
Yeah,
He said you wouldn't even have me on if I wasn't a Beatle.
yes, that's right. I thought that was nice and scared me a little bit at the time, in case he decided that maybe that was reason to leave in the third segment. But people just fell in love with him. I thought he was wonderful.
Now, were you?
Did you guys hate him? Is that what?
No, not
What's
at
going
all.
on?
We love him.
No,
It's not a Harrison conspiracy.
Oh, he brought Ravi Shankar on with him, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. Now, there was also the appearance with. Were you planning to have the group Wonder Wheel on, or did George say, "Oh, I have this group of musicians I'd like to bring out"?
Oh,
Because he brings Gary Wright
Gary
and those
Wright.
guys.
as I recall,
on.
that was a surprise to me, but I was not really one to veto it.
Right, right, absolutely. Just
I didn't ask for people in black bags. I'll admit that. I so rarely ask for people in black bags, and
But you knew what they were doing. I mean, the concept of it.
no.
No? Do you know now?
Well, they were in black bags. I could see that.
Right.
What was it again? The concept
Bagism.
was that
You couldn't be judged by your looks or by
Yeah.
you could only be heard and be judged by the content of what you're saying and not the color of your skin.
That's very good. I thought I had cornered you.
I'm sorry. You had.
I'm antagonistic.
I just made that up.
I felt sorry, but
no wonder
it
John had
convinced
such
me.
fun on the show.
Jesus, you should be on the radio.
No, believe me, I have a face for radio though.
Can I use that?
Yes.
Good.
I do have a question for you though. John said to you, not to get off of George Harrison, but John said to you, "I'm not an intellectual. I'm not articulate. I'm a working class guy."
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked you in February of this year, what
Uh-oh.
was John Lennon like? And you gave a great answer.
Uh-oh.
Do you remember what you
I
said?
hope you can come up with some of it.
I think I can. You said he wasn't like anything else. He was unique.
Yes. At that moment, I thought, I have heard what is somebody like one too many times in my life.
Right.
And what do you say? He's like chocolate ice cream. He's
Well.
like a day in May, you know. And I just thought, you can't say that about John. Who's like John Lennon? He's unique.
Yeah. He really is.
I'm glad you dug that. Is that one of the expressions the kids use these days? There's Richard Nixon again, bastard.
If I'm considered a kid, then we're all in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know what the kids have been saying for years.
When you first had John and Yoko on, Johnny Carson was still in New York, and I was wondering, was the competition to get a guest like John and Yoko on, especially against Johnny Carson, and he never went on Johnny Carson, and he only went on your show.
No, I guess not. Hard to believe that I almost never thought in those terms. I never expected anything I did in television to last 6 weeks. And Johnny and I were very good friends. And he, with me, almost more than I realized as years went by. And he used to watch the show and could prove it. And every time I finished a show, even if I'd had the Beatles on and it was canceled, Johnny would have me on Monday saying, well, we hope the next one isn't Armed Forces Radio. I don't know if he saw that show. I would guess, I remember hearing instances, and that was one of them, of people being said, told, why don't we get certain people that Cavett gets? Not from Johnny, but staff, producers and stuff.
Sure.
But I never saw it as a competition. And Johnny had said once to someone in solemn secrecy, while he and the other person he said to were alive, Cavett is the only one who might have beaten me if he weren't on a station with a network with a short station lineup. And that really went to my heart.
Well, I think it wasn't good for Johnny that the only time the Beatles were on, he had Joe Garagiola as the guest host.
Stand-in host.
That's right.
That's the damnedest thing, and I remember that as one of the most amazing events ever. Johnny was off the night the Beatles were on.
And the Beatles weren't the first guests.
That's right.
Lula Bankhead was the first one.
Yes.
You would think John and Paul would be.
Yeah.
And I can clearly hear one of them, and they all had similar accents, sitting like this, talking. It was uncomfortable, and the inflection was, "It's not natural."
That's true.
Is that Liverpool or
It's close enough.
Most
Bristol?
I'm
or-
from Queens. You kidding? Liverpool.
But I remember it's not natural.
Well, they
Almost Welsh.
I think actually, John, didn't he say at one point, yes, Johnny, talking to Joe?
Yeah.
Bell,
He would.
Yes,
Yeah.
he actually did that.
He would if he didn't.
Yes, he did. I mean, no wonder why Johnny didn't have them back.
I lived 2 blocks from where John was shot, and I don't. For 100 years, I would not be able to walk past the Dakota without thinking that, I guess. I don't think it would ever wear off.
Were you at home when that happened?
No, and I didn't live there then. I'm a long ways away. Can you answer a grim question for me? Did he know he was shot?
The only thing we do know is that when the policeman asked him in the back of the car, "Do you know who you are? Are you John Lennon?" He did shake his head yes.
And he also said to the security guard, "I've been shot."
I've been shot.
So he did know.
Yeah.
Well, we do have to thank the gun lobby for not discriminating against the mentally ill and making weapons available to them as well as to everyone else.
Yeah, you bet.
Well, Dick, unfortunately, we have to wrap things up here.
Hope I didn't lose your gun lobby sponsor.
Don't worry, we don't.
There goes Smith and Wesson. Damn,
Yes.
both.
Bye, Smith.
But I know I can speak for all of us and say you are welcome as a guest on our show anytime you want.
Absolutely.
You can be
Wow.
a fifth member. You can be a fifth Fab Forum.
And if you just want to talk
We'll
about
change the name
Nixon,
to Fab
if you
Fifth.
want to talk about Richard Nixon, we all hate him too.
Well, there's a terrific connection, as you know, between me and John Lennon and Richard Nixon because John had me testify for him that he shouldn't be deported by the great unindicted co-conspirator.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to YouTube, you can see Nixon and his lickspittle Haldeman, and the dialogue is, "Who is Cavett anyway?" The last line from the president's mouth is, "How can we screw him?"
Wow.
If you don't believe me, go to YouTube and
we
put
believe you.
Cavett Nixon.
Yeah.
Yeah, still
I'm
dead,
going to
isn't he?
YouTube right now.
Okay.
Still dead, God willing.
So, Dick, thanks so much for being a
Okay.
part of our show.
Can I do another one now, if you're serious?
Yeah, I would love to.
Right now.
I
You
have
can go on all night.
Stay tuned for
We're
part
on
2,
the island.
folks.
We're
Okay.
Anyway, for Fab Forum, I'm Ken Michaels, joined by Mitch Axelrod,
Take care, folks.
Tony Taguardo,
Good night, folks.
Rob Leonard,
Good night.
and our special guest, Dick Cavett.
Nighty-night. Okay,
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see y'all next time.
Be there.
When did you get Southern?
I don't know.
Hope you've enjoyed Fab Forum with the legendary Dick Cavett. Of course, if you want to check out the other episodes of the Fab Forum show, the audio episodes, visit our website, www.fabforum.com. And of course, comments are always welcome. Comments at fabforum.com. This is Tony Taguardo. See you soon.